Hello and welcome back to my garden. Yes, once again we're back in the vegetable garden, and today I'm going to be planting up some carrots and some garlic. Fancy garlic, and I'll talk more about that in a second. The carrots that I have today probably be the last batch of carrots that I planted. As many of you know, if you haven't seen my previous video, I did one full bed and one half bed of carrots. The one full bed is growing wonderfully, and the half bed is not so wonderful, but c'est la vie, it is what it is, but I will get some carrots out of that. Today I'm going to be planting two different types of carrots here in this bed, which I just topped off with some fresh raised bed mix. The first variety, as I make these rows here, and if you've planted carrots recently, please let me know in the comments below. If you do winter carrots, again, please let me know in those comments. I'm going to make that hole, and we're going to drill this. What did I have growing in here? Radishes. I just had radishes growing in here recently. I also then had a lot of weeds coming up. So hopefully this raised bed mix that I put down today will help suppress some of those weeds, but I'm sure more will pop up, especially with the weather we've been having as of late, which is pretty warm. Although I am expecting a freeze probably sometime towards the end of this month. It depends upon the year, but sometimes we get freezes as early as mid-November down here in growing zone 8B, Eastern North Carolina. Other times it could be later, and this is one of those later years. So we will see. First off is Danvers 126. Now, if it doesn't get to freezing, it's not going to impact the carrots, and if it does get to freezing, it's still not going to impact the carrots. Last year I grew carrots, and we had multiple freezes, and the top growth will fall over. It won't actually die, and I think that's, and again, if you're a horticultural expert or a gardening expert, please correct me if I'm wrong, or fill in more information, leave those comments below, but I think it's the thickness of the leaves. So for instance, a radish leaf is very broad, it's very big, so when that gets hit with a frost or a freeze, there's a lot of water in that leaf, and it's more susceptible, therefore the leaves fall over, they brown, they blacken, they die. Versus a carrot where the leaves, the top growth, the leaves are very, very thin and small, so they don't seem to be as easily damaged by frosts or freezes. If you have more knowledge than me, and I have very little knowledge, I'm not an expert and I didn't stay at Holiday Inn Express last night, please leave those comments below. Now, some people prefer pelletized carrot seeds, because then they don't have to come back and do as much thinning. I actually don't have a preference one way or the other. I've also seen recently somebody do carrot seed strips, where their carrot seeds are sort of glued onto a piece of paper, and you just lay the whole piece of paper down, and then there's way they're properly spaced. I don't know the germination rate success on those carrots. I can only speak for myself that not every carrot seed that I do put down will come up. So I tend to seed a little heavier. And then worst case scenario, I'm just thinning out the excess. So that's the Danvers 126. I'm going to cover that up. And I'm going to put a label in, of course. And since I'm here, and I know it's going to go from here over, I'm going to put the other label right there, which will be the Tender Sweets. And these Tender Sweets are from a company called So True Seed. They are a female-owned business in Western North Carolina, in Asheville. And their business, I believe, got slightly damaged, and some of their co-workers, I think, maybe have lost possessions and or homes with Hurricane Helene and the horrible impact it had on Western North Carolina. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they are running some sort of sale right now with proceeds going towards donations, towards helping others. This is not sponsored, by the way, but I just got the email today and I was looking at it. So if you'd like, head over to So True Seed, check out what they have, maybe grab yourself some seeds for next spring, or now if you can grow it in your area. I don't know where a lot of you are. I know where some of you are, but not all of you. So head over and check out So True Seed for that. So there we go. That's the last of my carrots that I'm going to be planting for this year. So I have 2.5 beds. I think last year I only did one bed, and my wife said, you should grow more, lots more. So here we go, 2.5 beds of carrots growing, or 2.25 really, because this one's not so successful. Either way, let me water and then we'll move on. Okay, so as I mentioned in previous videos, I didn't purchase a lot of garlic this year. That being said, I'm going to try to put as much garlic as I can into this one bed and see if I can fit what garlic I still have to plant into this bed. If not, I have another place to plant that garlic. The first type I'm growing, I got from Epic Gardening. Now, I don't know if Epic Gardening still has any garlic available, but if they do, and if you'd like to maybe go grab some, you can head over to shop.epicgardening.com. You search for the garlic in their store there, and you can use the code GROWING to save yourself 10% on checkout up until November 8th. So that's my little plug right there. In the meantime, I'm going to plant Ichalon. I'm going to put the name on the screen here because I can't speak English. Red garlic. This is a soft neck variety. I've never grown it before, so it's going to be new to me. If you're wondering how deep to plant your garlic, I'm not an expert, but I follow the general rule of thumb of twice the depth of the clove or the bulb. In this case, it'd be the clove. And I try to leave about 6 inches between each one. Depending upon what you read, where you read it, what YouTuber you watch, they may say something slightly different. If you plant your garlic in a slightly different way, please leave those comments below. Let me know. Let everybody know, because I'm still a novice. I'm still learning, but this method has worked for me in the past. So this is why I'm going to use this method. And the problem, if you plant them any closer than, say, 6 inches, is each garlic bulb needs a certain amount of nutrition. So if you plant them closer than that, you run the risk of one plant stealing from another plant kind of thing. So there's 2 rows, and you know what? I only have 4 bulbs left. Well, we're going to do another row here. They'll just get spaced a little further apart, which is fine. There we go. All right, so now I have 3 rows of that funny named garlic. Okay, the next variety I'm planting is Sicilian artichoke garlic. I've never grown this variety either. I also got this from Epic Gardening. And the other thing to keep in mind when you plant garlic, or so I hear from the experts, is you want to plant your largest cloves. So you don't want to clove that, because when you tear apart the garlic bulb, there'll be lots of little cloves like this. And each one will go on to form its own bulb, which you then harvest and tear apart and eat. You can plant the smaller ones. They will grow. They just won't grow as large. I have 2 cloves left over, not really enough for another row. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe put these in a pot. If you haven't seen me do that, you can go back and watch my previous video, but I had seen a gentleman on Instagram put garlic cloves into a pot with potting soil, obviously, and leave them outside, and then they grew into garlic the following year for him. So I think that's what I'll try with these 2. Okay, the next variety I'm going to grow is Deerfield, or Deerfield Purple, as sometimes known. I grew this a few years ago. It was a huge success and fan favorite amongst many of my friends and family that I gave it to. Again, just gonna pop these into the ground. And this is a hardneck variety too. Now I do have room for a little bit, but I also have a couple of heads of Deerfield Purple left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start the next batch, and then I will find a home for the Deerfield Purple at a later date. In fact, I see a bed where I might put Deerfield Purple, but I'm going to stop babbling and go get the other variety that I've purchased this year. Okay, the next variety I'm going to do in this bed, and it's the last variety that I'm planting for this season, is Romanian red garlic. This is another variety I've never grown before. If you've grown any of these varieties, or if you have comments on any of these varieties, please leave those comments below. Now these cloves are actually pretty large, and FYI, this is a hardneck variety. Just covering that up. That sun is setting pretty fast. Now I do have some of those bulbs remaining from the various varieties that I planted out today, and I think I'm going to put a couple of them in the ground next to the ones that I had planted previously. So if you haven't watched that video, you can go back and watch that video. I did some garlic planting in ground as sort of an experiment, see what I can do. And I will plant the rest of them here in this bed. Now, obviously this bed is sort of a hot mess. This basil that you see right here is seed that had fallen from the cinnamon basil next to it. and just started growing. And I let it grow because the bees love the flowers as well as many other pollinators. And there's a couple of weeds in here. And as you could see, this bed is also sunken down quite a bit because the material that was in the bottom of this has been decaying and rotting down. So the bed sinks. So obviously I'm going to need to top this up before I plant into it. But I'm not going to do another garlic video, another video of me planting garlic, because again, it'd just be the same varieties of me just sticking in here in this bed or in the ground. So if you guys have any questions or comments, etc., please leave them below. Again, if you're an experienced gardener and you see me saying something wrong or doing something wrong, please leave those comments below. I am an inexperienced gardener, a novice, and I'm learning as I go along, and I'm gaining that experience that many of you already have. If you haven't checked out the links below, please check out the links below. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Sophie here would very much appreciate it. You have to look at the camera. Look. No, the camera's... Oh, she is terrible to work with. And if you're still watching, thank you to all the new subscribers who have joined the channel recently. We are growing slowly but surely. Thank you very much. There is a ton of stuff still to do here in the fall in growing zone 8B here and around the garden. I have yet to put the in-ground beds to sleep. I have more flower bulbs to plant out, which we'll be doing, I think, soon. There's lemons to harvest and oranges and a rose garden to take care of. And oh, there's winter projects that are coming up probably in December and January and February and March when I do all my winter projects. Yes, I know. And I can't forget about the seed starting in January in the greenhouse. I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you everybody for watching. We're going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.